Brockman, and it was U.S. Navy, Petty Officer 3rd Class. I was offered the boot camp. That was basic training, they called it boot camp. And it was in Bainbridge, Maryland, which wasn't all that far from my home. So I had to go to New York first to meet the bus that was going to take us to Bainbridge. And here were all these young fellas on the bus. I had joined with 2 other high school friends. So I had the company of the 2 high school friends, Davy and George. And we rode the bus down, and I became aware of a startling experience for me. I had never had this before. I had gone through public schools, and the last school I had been attending was in Elizabeth, New Jersey, which was a pretty large city. And I relate that because the bus ride stopped someplace, I can't remember quite where it was, but it was out of New Jersey. And for the first time I experienced segregation. It was the first time. It stopped for a rest stop, and the guys on the bus were separated. The black folks, they had to go in a separate place, and the white folks, they went in a different place. And then outside the restaurant, it had a fountain that was marked colored and white. And that was the first time that I had really experienced this divisive racism of black and white. I just assumed everybody was the same up until that time. The schools that I had attended all had black and white, and they were all treated the same. Later on, when we got to Bainbridge, they again separated us into colored and white, and we went through our basic training that way, pretty much separated. I fell behind because I got ill with a cold or something that I had to go to the hospital. So I lost the company that I had gone into when we first arrived at Bainbridge. But I was fortunate enough to gain that back before graduation from the boot camp. But what I wanted to tie together for you was not only on the ride down was there a separation of the races. Once I got on board the ship, there was a separation of the races. The black or colored sailors, they could only do limited service. They were mainly the cooks and the stewards to the officers. Stewards would be maybe kind of a valet. And so the term steward would refer to somebody who worked for and with the officers serving them. So the black kids really, that's what they did, the black sailors. And the white sailors, they would man the guns, and they would run the office, and they would do all the things that were required on the ship. But as you can tell, the point I'm making is at that particular point in American history, there was a very deep separation between the blacks and the whites. Later on, when President Eisenhower got in to office, he made it so that there was no separation anymore in the services. So at that point, when I graduated from boot camp, my assignment was to go to Boston